Coming off a championship with one of the youngest rosters in the NBA, and then opening the following season with the second best start of all time, only second to the 24-0 Warriors that ended up winning 73 games, there is a realization washing over much of the NBA right now when it comes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Some are calling it an NBA Doomsday scenario, an asteroid heading for Earth kind of thing. They're calling for Adam Silver to intervene. Bill Simmons called it an actual NBA crisis. What is this NBA Armageddon everyone is talking about? The Thunder own the Los Angeles Clippers 2026 unprotected first-round draft pick. And while there is a lot of season left, that's important to remember, and a lot of things can happen, also important to remember, as of right now, the Clippers have struggled, lining that pick up to potentially land in the top 5. So, a team that won 68 games a season ago with a historically great margin of victory, then won the NBA championship, then started the next season just about as well as anybody in NBA history has, while beating teams by an average of better than 15 points a game, that team could conceivably have a 15% chance at the number 1 overall pick and a 40% chance at a top 5 pick.
The league is in a panic about the Thunder owning the Clippers picks these next couple of years. This year outright, next year via swap.
Quick side note, there is precedent for this, by the way. The Lakers won the NBA title in 1982 and had the number 1 pick because of a trade they made in 1979 with the Cleveland Cavaliers, sending Don Ford to Cleveland for their first-round pick. This was pre-lottery, so it went in descending order by record, and a coin toss actually with the Clippers went the Lakers' way. So they selected number 1 overall and took James Worthy to add to a team that already had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson. And in the Thunder's case here, it could actually be 3 lottery picks to go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, and the rest of Oklahoma City's core. What? So let's go through these picks, what they are, how the Thunder got them, and probably most importantly, and I really think that this is the biggest thing, why the Thunder still have all these picks. There was a time where the conversation around the Thunder and their distant future assets was talked down on. They were scouting third graders. There's not enough roster spots for all those picks anyway. Having so many picks degrades their value. You need to cash them in now and give Shai help, and on and on and on. But when this plan started, a handy review if you missed it about the strategy to reposition, replenish, and rebuild, the Thunder took a very intentional approach. They wanted to push as much of their future draft capital out into the distance as they possibly could. Their most valuable assets in rebuilding a team would be their own picks because you have more control about where those might land. And by pushing out the picks that you own from other teams, you could play a game of calculated risk, a bet against opposing futures. So the Thunder traded Paul George and received that historic haul, along with this guy named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who might turn out to be pretty good one day. Who knows? We'll see.
Going to work on Reed. Hesitation.
The Thunder got Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, plus 2 pick swaps. One of those first-rounders already became Jalen Williams. Trey Mann was a result of another one, which by extension and another trade turned into Isaiah Hartenstein. One of the swaps became the 15th pick in last year's draft, which was Thomas Sorber. So we're on to the 2026 pick, which is unprotected and was supposed to be the last of the assets to convey. But here's a fun sidebar. Sam Presti cleverly extended the window on his Clippers investment by getting involved in the trade between the Clippers and 76ers that sent James Harden-to-LA in 2023. So let me explain that. The 76ers wanted an additional first-round pick in their trade with the Clippers for Harden, and guess who had some to spare? So the Thunder sent a protected 2026 pick to the 76ers in exchange for the Clippers handing them a 2027 unprotected pick swap. So the Thunder own the Clippers' unprotected first rounder for the 2026 draft and also have the right to swap picks with the Clippers in the 2027 draft, unprotected. So with the way things are going, that 2027 pick swap might also be pretty valuable. And if you're wondering what pick OKC traded, it's very confusing. Basically, OKC gets to keep 2 of their 3 most valuable picks between its own, the Clippers pick, and also the Houston Rockets pick, which they actually own from the Russell Westbrook trade, but is protected 1 through 4. The least favorable of these 3 goes to the Wizards, who acquired that pick from the Sixers in the Reggie Jackson deal last February. I know, hard to follow. Now, what about the potential Philadelphia pick the Thunder own for 2026? I know, this all confuses me too. You have no idea how much time I spent going back and forth myself to make sure I had it all right. OKC had this same pick last season and it didn't end up conveying, as it was top 6 protected, and the Sixers had a not great season, and the lottery balls pushed the Sixers into the top 3 where they picked VJ Edgecombe. So it rolled over to this season and now is top 4 protected, and it's much more likely to convey, unless something goes horribly wrong for the Sixers from here on out. But it also will fall somewhere in the mid-first round, most likely. How did the Thunder get this pick again? Hang in there, because your head might spin a little bit. We have to go back to the Thunder acquiring Al Horford. In 2020, the Thunder traded for Horford, who at the time was a bad fit in Philly alongside Joel Embiid and had his value greatly suppressed. So as a distressed asset where Philly was trying to offload salary, the 76ers had to attach picks to the deal. And the Thunder, with tons of cap space available, traded Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson to Philly. OKC received a 2020 second rounder, which became Theo Maledon, the rights to Vasilije Micic, again, kind of connected to Isaiah Hartenstein here, and a lightly protected 2025 first round pick, which, sidebar to the sidebar, someone should really stop me here, by the way. The Thunder had Danny Green in the first place by trading Dennis Schroeder to the Lakers, which the Thunder had by not waive and stretching Carmelo Anthony, which everyone thought they should do, and instead trading him to Atlanta for Schroeder, which the Thunder had Melo, by the way, by trading Enes Kanter to New York for him, which the Thunder had by not waive and stretching Kendrick Perkins, like everyone thought they should do, and traded him to Utah for Kanter. Okay, back to the current stuff. The Thunder also have the Jazz's first round pick, though that one is protected 1 through 8, and there's a good possibility that one doesn't convey. How did the Thunder get this one though? The Jazz were in salary cap purgatory with a looming luxury tax bill and needed to move Derek Favors' big contract off the books. Well, guess who had cap space and was ready to absorb Favors' contract at the low price of a future first round draft pick? All the Thunder gave up is a future second round pick and some cash considerations. Now, this pick, if not conveyed this season, will just disappear entirely, which would be a bummer. But it's still something to watch as the season plays out. If the Jazz can finish with like 35 wins or something, maybe it falls around 11 or 12 and it goes to OKC. By the way, the Thunder traded Favors to Houston in 2022 in a bizarrely fascinating trade that included 8 players. OKC got 4 players that they waived to solve a pending training camp roster crunch and sent a conditional second rounder to Houston while also dropping well below the luxury tax line and saving $1 million. It was a weird trade, but very interesting. Oh, and by the way, there's more to come after that, with OKC owning a top 5 protected first rounder from Denver in 2027, acquired by trading the number 30 pick in the 2022 draft, which ended up being Peyton Watson, and then 2 second rounders to take on JaMychal Green, who the Thunder waived. The right to pick swap with the Mavs is also there in 2028, acquired by sending a 2024 first rounder to Dallas, which they rerouted to Washington when the Mavs added Daniel Gafford. And that one could be pretty spicy. And you know what's funny? That pick made its way all the way back around, going from the Wizards to the Knicks and back to the Thunder, in exchange for 5 second rounders on draft night, which became Dylan Jones at number 26 overall. And then there's another first rounder from Denver in 2029, top 5 protected. So that's how the Thunder got all these picks. But the better question, again, the one I want to stress, is why they got them. Let's go back to May 2021. With the Thunder coming off a rough season and in the middle of transitioning the roster and rebuilding, with everyone looking at his treasure trove of draft capital and wonder why he wasn't pushing his chips in to make his team better, Sam Presti said this.
The benefit that we have, Barry, is that we have a lot of those assets pushed down the line quite far, which what that does is it gives us more time to determine how to utilize them, where our team is, because the team is going to kind of tell you kind of where you are ultimately. I think a lot of mistakes get made is when you artificially try to accelerate something that needs to build momentum or growth organically. And so I think the team has to lead you to that. But if you artificially try to do that, I think now what you're doing is you are really limiting the upside of your goals, your potential outcomes, because you're basically letting time or impatience or a lack of poise kind of drive your decision-making rather than your goals kind of drive those.
The Thunder had these picks for two main reasons. One, long-term planning / vision. When the Thunder made their trades, they did it with a specific strategy in mind. Again, they pushed the fulfillments out as far as they could for a reason. They were betting against other teams' futures, knowing the NBA happens in tight cycles with roster turnover and injuries and other factors keeping contending windows to 3 and 4 years most of the time. It was a calculated strategy to bet that trend would continue. It was like the Thunder were buying NBA Bitcoin or something. Buy early and hold on to your investment no matter how much you might get tempted to cash it in. And then the second reason, discipline. Presti also said this in May 2021.
As they say, shortcuts cut long runs short. And we're going to do everything in our power not to allow that to happen.
The Thunder got better faster than anyone, including themselves, anticipated. Those future bets on draft picks were supposed to be part of refueling the roster with talent rather than piling on top of a championship one. But that's part of sports. There's luck, there's good fortune, there's happenstance, there's randomness, there's unpredictability. And a lot of those things tilted the Thunder's way, largely due to their strategic planning to lean the odds in their direction, but also because they were disciplined to not stuff their mouths full of marshmallows. There were a lot of people that as the Thunder started improving, as they won 40 games, as they won 57 games, they wanted OKC to cash the picks in and make a so-called win-now move. But Presti said this in April of 2023 after OKC won 40 games and made the play-in.
This is the way I look at I anticipated that someone would ask this question. Not the exact one you asked, Barry, but what do you do with the draft picks? Because someone asks that every year. The way I would look at this is, if you think one day you want to buy a house, okay, but you don't know where it's going to be, but you want to buy a house, you don't go out and buy the paint for it now. You'd rather wait to see, where's the house? How much paint do I need? What color? I'm going to have blue paint. I'm going to buy 10 cans. We need to know what the house looks like before we start thinking about the cosmetics, in my opinion.
As it turned out, turning over every page on the roster, discovering the talents of each player, developing their skills, and investing in the day-by-day improvement yielded organic stars. SGA became the MVP. Dub became an All-NBA counterpart. Lou Dort, a first-team All-Defensive role player. Chet, a potential Defensive Player of the Year. Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, AJ, Wiggs, J. Will, Kaysen. All these players were just part of the foundation that was within the house. I'm sure if you went back to 2021, Presti probably had a different plan in mind for those future picks. But as he let the roster evolve, using patience and discipline, turning over every page, it started becoming apparent that the strategy could shift. Others may have tried to shortcut it because they didn't have the belief in their developmental systems like the Thunder do. The Thunder were betting on themselves as much as they were betting against everyone else's future.
And we can't seek shortcuts that are actually setbacks and waiting. And that's the way, I think that's the challenge of any type of building process in your own lives, in our own lives, in work or in business, whatever it might be. Shortcuts that lead you to setbacks that are just kind of latent and waiting there, that's what we want to actively try to avoid.
And so, they've been rewarded with a situation with some serious upside. It's good fortune, but don't mistake it for an accident or NBA Armageddon either.